Hello, everybody, and you are very welcome to Successful Perspectives. Successful Perspectives, of course, is when we deep dive into the topic of leadership with a member from our very selective network, Boardroom by EMIR. For this conversation, I am delighted to be joined by Fikret Ersoy, who is the Managing Director for Middle East, Turkey, and Africa at PSA BDP. Fikret, it is wonderful to have you on Successful Perspectives, and you are very welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Trevor.
Fikret, you have been in our network a little while, and the purpose of these conversations is to dig into the topic of leadership, and it gives me an opportunity to get to know you guys a little bit more, but also to share some of the wisdom that you have picked up in your career along the way. So maybe a good starting point for the conversation would be, give me a sense of your leadership philosophy. What are some of the central tenets as you see it?
Thank you, Trevor. So my leadership philosophy is more transformational leadership. So communication is essential to my leadership philosophy, with listening to others and encouraging honest communication at the center of my team. I aspire to lead with integrity, sharing these strategies as my team, and I build these strategies to achieve our common goal, vision, and the future.
Fantastic. Now, given that communication is such an important part of your philosophy, I assume this is something that you have picked up along the way as being incredibly important. And I just wonder, how do you go about thinking about your leadership philosophy? Is it something that you reflect on often? How do you measure its success? You know, why was it that you identified as communication being the most important aspect of it?
Obviously, the single word is the result. So the success is measured through the results that we achieve. And in the Middle East, Turkey, and Africa region, the triple-digit growth for 4 years in a row. I think our organization in the region is the fastest growing region within the group.
Triple digit growth for 3 years.
Yes.
Fikret, you must be the golden child of the organization globally.
Thank you.
And do you reflect on this philosophy a lot, you know, because there's something clearly is working about it? How do you go about thinking about your philosophy?
I think my biggest strength as a leader is the ability to bring the team together, to focus on the common goal and common feature, while also creating a unified culture within the organization.
And would you have always considered yourself a natural leader? Like if I'd have met Fikret, I don't know, like 25 years ago when you're a young boy,
yes.
You had those characteristics. What did they look like? How did they come out? Was it in sports? Was it in study? What was it like?
And obviously, you know, the education and the study has been helping me a lot. So I have been trying to develop myself. But as you rightly said, you know, the being a natural leader, I think I have been feeling this since the beginning. So for me, you know, being a natural leader, the most important point is how to manage the emotional intelligence to bring all your team members together and focus on the business goal. So I can say, you know, yes, and naturally I feel I'm a leader.
And how would you describe a leader nowadays? This is quite interesting, right? What are the characteristics that make for a good leader?
You know, in most of the case, I always say, you know, bringing the right people to the right place at the right time. So I think absolutely it explains to me, you know, how a leader should be. And that's how I see, obviously, the business results, the strategies, tactics, all of them are very important. But in our industry, the people is at the center of the everything. So that's why bringing right people at the right time to the right place is the crucial point for me.
And that's why I suppose you mentioned emotional intelligence, right? Because that's a key aspect of being able to do all of that. And particularly understanding people enough to bring them all together in the right place at the right time to achieve the right goals, right? Wonderful. Okay, so we've identified you're a natural leader. What's your take on modern leadership? It seems that maybe when you and I were starting our careers, we had a certain idea of what a leader was and what leadership was about. Nowadays, it seems, of course, you have a responsibility on the targets and numbers, which you seem to be delivering on so well. But we also have a responsibility to create a positive work culture and environment for the team, and also have a positive impact on society more broadly. How have you seen that change over the course of your career, and how do you think about it?
Absolutely. The impact of a leader has to be wider than just the impact on the company to the broader community, the world as a whole. So this can be through impacting changes that reflect the realities of a wider perspective, like via ESG strategies and leading at the leadership level.
And maybe we could close off with a question I like to ask a lot of our members, and that is, what's the best piece of career advice that you've ever received?
Where there is a will, there is a way. When I started my company in the region, I was 26 years old. So that's why, impossible is nothing. So this is my career advice to all the young generation.
And what do you, this is such an interesting piece of advice, right? Because to me, when I listen to it, it's very powerful. I've personal experience in understanding that you're correct, right? But I guess the question comes down to is the will, right? You need to have that will. What would you say to somebody that's starting out in their career where they have an idea that they want to do something, and they have an idea that they want to be in a certain position in, say, 15, 20 years time. But there's one thing in having a little bit of a, I'd like that. And it's a very different thing to say, no matter what, that's what I'm going to make happen. So when you think back to 26, what do you think it was about you that you were able to shift into that gear of no matter what, this is what is going to take place?
Yeah, definitely. So that's why will is very important. And the second point is the consistency. So there will be ups and downs, but the consistency is key to achieve whatever you dream. So that is my recommendation to all young generation. First, we need to start with the will, and then, we need to be consistent no matter what.
And consistency comes down to discipline as well, right? Fikret, thank you so much for being on Success with Perspectives. It was my pleasure to get to know you a little bit more and pick up some of those pearls of wisdom. So I really appreciate it, and thank you again for being on.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Have a fantastic day.